It's time for 41 is the Mic, a weekly Chiefs podcast with Nick Jacobs of KSHB 41 and Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mic starts now.
Yes, everyone. Welcome to 41 is the Mic. I am Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest, alongside Nick Jacobs from KSHB 41 and Eric Bieniemy enthusiast. Right, Nick? Or at least a see what happens enthusiast.
We'll definitely see what happens on that front. Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's where we're gonna leave that at. We're not gonna associate me an enthusiast on that one. I'm sorry.
Well, we got a few things to talk about on today's episode. We will talk about the fact that the Chiefs officially have an offensive coordinator now. This week, we are going to go over the defensive side of the football, where the Chiefs' needs are when they start getting into free agency and start their draft prep and seeing who they need to bring back, which will be another discussion, but we'll see what their needs are. But Nick, I mean, let's deal with the NFL news of the day. We're talking on Championship Sunday night here. You probably are hearing this more on Championship next day, Monday, bye-week Monday of the Super Bowl week. Seattle and New England, thoughts?
Isn't the Super Bowl I think anybody expected when the year started? I knew Mike Vrabel, his first year there, I knew he would really be able to set the tempo. I just thought it was going to take more time to really kind of get that offense into, a Super Bowl level. And what they showed in Denver shows they still have a ways to go. But, I mean, look, Mike Vrabel's got them believing, and they're unified on defense, and they do play sound, good defensive football. So they were able to win the AFC Championship this year in a very, very weird year. And Denver, look, if Denver has Bo Nix, who knows? Maybe Sean Payton does just enough to get him in there, or maybe Bo Nix does just enough in that weather to turn the ball over even more. So, who knows how that would have worked out had Bo Nix been there, but that's what Denver's always going to be asking themselves in that AFC Championship game is what would have been like if Bo Nix would have been there. And then on the NFC side, I was expecting the Rams to end up going. I thought they just had the better football team, but Sam Darnold didn't make as many mistakes as I anticipated him to, and that Seahawks defense had a really strong performance and made some key plays when it mattered, and Rams had some drops there and some key moments. So all that combined, it's going to be a Super Bowl that will definitely be on KCHB 41, and it will be Drake May versus Sam Darnold. The quarterback battle that it'll definitely be a battle. There will be a battle happening.
I mean, we may look back at this later and say, well, of course, hey, Drake May, this was the first of his 6 Super Bowl championships. I mean, that may very well be where his career arc looks like. Sam Darnold, I don't think that's going to be the case. This got the chance to be looking at like one of those, like, okay, this was Joe Flacco's Super Bowl or Trent Dilfer's Super Bowl. This might be just the one and done for Sam Darnold, because I would never have thought over the career that I've seen from Sam Darnold thus far that he would be a Super Bowl quarterback, but might pull it off.
Yeah, no, hey, I think he will end up being a Super Bowl champion. I think Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl. I think they'll win it pretty comfortably because I feel like the Super Bowl was played between the Rams and Seahawks today, or on Sunday if you're listening to this later. So I don't. We'll see. We'll see with the 2 weeks time, but I don't think May going up against that Seahawks defense is going to work out well for him.
Yeah, I felt even with the struggles that they had in the last couple of years in Tennessee, I still was sticking by my guns that Mike Vrabel is one of the 5 best coaches in the NFL, and 100%. He's proved that this year. Hey, New England, you can say what you said. They had a pretty easy schedule. They got some good luck throughout the season about who they faced and when they faced them. A lot of things came together, but in the playoffs, they've taken advantage. They've won 2 games that they had to win. And like I said, they had to play 3 games. So they won 3 games going on the road to beat Denver. Today was, good opportunity. They had to lead at the right point because once that weather came in, and I love a good snow game, Nick. There's no doubt about it. I love that. That was just a debacle in the fourth quarter with the weather. But again, I like that. That's the way football's supposed to be played. So I'm okay with that.
Well, it would have been even worse in New England. So,
Well, and it wasn't -4 degrees or anything either. So it could have been worse. So we will be talking about the Seahawks and the Patriots over the next couple of weeks, which I know when it comes to the Patriots, Chiefs fans will probably just tune out but remember, it could have been worse. We could have been hearing about the Broncos for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I wouldn't have paid attention either way. Now, I'll be honest, with the Chiefs season is over, I haven't looked at national TV any more than I have to. We've been moving on at KCHB 41. We've been Keaton Wagler, the star at Illinois. Let's hear from the Shawnee Mission area. I mean, he had that freshman sensational performance on Saturday. We've been focused on Sunflower Showdown. And, Matt, I moved on with my life, my sports life. That hasn't been Chiefs related. So.
Well, and oddly enough, the Chiefs are moving on. They're moving on with their life. Yeah. Matt Nagy, I guess no longer with the Chiefs. They've officially said goodbye, finally.
They said the thank you in the Twitter thing. That's about as official as you need to get on that one.
They've thanked him for his service, and they have introduced and announced that Eric Bieniemy will be back in Kansas City as the offensive coordinator. We might get to hear from Eric Bieniemy here in a couple of weeks. We will see. Maybe earlier than that. We'll see, but hopefully we'll get to talk to him fairly soon and kind of hear what he has to say about returning to Kansas City. But first reaction, first thoughts to EB coming back.
I'm not gonna hold any punches because I just don't care anymore. Look, there's a reason he left. There's a reason he left. There's a reason they moved on. There's a reason they both went separate ways. And part of it was because he needed to kind of, go explore something new on his own. He did that in Washington. It didn't go well in Washington. He went to UCLA. Didn't go well in UCLA. And then he's been with the Bears this year. And look, I've said this before. Eric Bieniemy is a fantastic running back coach. Arguably one of the best running back coaches in the league. That guy gets the best out of every single running back, and he pushes them. So in Kansas City, I'm not going to, how do I say this? I'm not going to fool myself into saying, well, you know what? You learned a lot from Ben Johnson. He's going to come up with all these new great ideas. He might come up with some of them, and that's fantastic if he does. What he's really here for is to be the disciplinarian. That's what the reality is about why he's actually here, is he's there to put some foot in some people and tell them, no, this is what you're going to do. This is the level you have to play at. This is the perfection you need to have, and this is what's going to happen. He's going to push players' buttons, and that's just how that's going to go. Some guys are going to get irritated about it. Some guys are going to get mad about it. And there's going to be some blow-ups on the sidelines, and that's going to happen like it always does. Because Eric Bieniemy, he's got one speed, and that's full power. So that's what he's going to do. And that's, you could argue that the Chiefs offense needed that at times. Sure. They need a coach that can be like that. And that's what Eric Bieniemy is going to end up being. But am I going to fool myself into thinking that he's going to come up with these plays and call these plays and everything? At the end of the day, it's still going to be Andy Reid's show. He proved that by making the hire that he did. So, I mean, had they had somebody who had been outside of the organization, never worked with Andy before, like a Cliff Kingsbury, like a Nathan Shieldhouse, that I was intrigued to see what maybe one of them could do, especially Nathan Shieldhouse. I would really like to see them move a tree here in Kansas City and come up with some new ideas. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So, I'm intrigued to see what happens, if there's any additional changes to the offensive coaching staff, or if they're going to play the run-it-back game with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Heck and Tom Melvin and David Gerard. And then, you just got the new wide receivers coach, Jed O'Shea. And then you also, who knows who's going to be the running backs coach? We'll find out. So, I mean, look, they'll have a couple of new position coaches. They'll have, Eric Bieniemy, who's, been at 3 different stops since he left Kansas City in 3 consecutive years. And we'll see how that ends up going. But I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that I was doing cartwheels when I saw that Eric Bieniemy is coming back. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
Being from Missouri, show me. I mean, I know not everybody's from Missouri, but it's the attitude we're famous for. It's our motto on this side of the state line, at least. And I completely get all of that, because I do look back at it, and I do think it's a little bit ironic that, there were the calls and the feelings, and maybe some of these people were prescient. Maybe the people who were saying when Eric Bieniemy in his last year and they were fine with him leaving and moving on, that maybe they were right. Maybe they were seeing some staleness sneaking into the offense, that maybe they were pressuring. Maybe they did see this coming. And maybe Matt Nagy just took fell on the sword for just the downturn in the Chiefs offense that was going to happen anyway. I don't know. I mean, we'll find out. Do I expect that the Chiefs are going to, in the next, if Eric Bieniemy is here for the next 6 seasons, that they're going to have the number 1 offense in the league 3 times like they did during his last stint? I don't know about that. I do know from looking at the numbers that you absolutely can make the argument that Patrick Mahomes played his best under Eric Bieniemy. And I think you're right. To me, it's that Eric Bieniemy knows how to push people's buttons to get the best out of them. And so that's why I think, that the arguments on the sideline, the outburst and everything, I think those are probably okay, because that's just, players are caring. And in football, I think that's what you need most of all, is you need players who care. So I haven't seen a team that's cared a lot increasingly in the last couple of years. And I think we could do a psychological study about what happened to this team after going for the three-peat and not getting it the way that it happened. I mean, maybe everybody on that team needs to be in therapy. I don't know. But maybe Eric Bieniemy's the guy to come in to just clean all of that up. My only fear with it, Nick, is just if you expect Eric Bieniemy to come back in and pick up where they left off, I'm not sure that's going to happen. And like to your point, it's not Eric Bieniemy's not going to come in and have a brand new playbook. It's going to be like, okay, guys, here's the great plays. This is what's going to take. He's the guy that's just there to execute what Andy Reid puts together and make sure that these guys have it down. And he's really good at that. I mean, we're just going to see if it works.
Yeah, and that's why I want to make very clear, I'm not knocking Eric Bieniemy. I've watched Eric Bieniemy here since 2013. So I was in the sidelines at practices. So I know what Eric Bieniemy is, who he is as a coach. I've watched him for over a decade as a coach. So I've been at training camp as of you. And I've been in countless press conferences where he, says the same cliche things over and over again. But what I will say more than anything else is that
at the end of the day,
keep chopping wood when it's all said and done. You can go on and on, but I haven't listened to the pressers for a while to be able to find all the cliches. What only matters at the end is winning losses. That's
the alphabet. That's all that matters.
Oh, and then
going to have that sign up in the locker room that says "Help wanted, now hiring all positions."
That's another one. But what I'm going to say to him more than anything else, if you're wanting to become a head coach in the NFL, you've got to win the press conference room on a regular basis. You've got to be real with us, and you've got to be authentic. Who you are as a coach, how you inspire those players, that's what you have to sell to them in press conferences with media members, because that's what the fans see, that's what the public sees. Whenever you do the cliche machine over and over and over and over and over and over again, people aren't going to get enthusiastic about you, because they're going to be the ones that are there day in and day out hearing the same thing over and over again. And when things don't go well, that's whenever people are going to start asking questions. So I know this sounds weird to say, but my advice to him more than anything else, if he sees this or anybody over at Winter Road Drive points this in his direction, is this time around, when you do press conferences, be real with the media, be real with the fans, and do it in a way to where I don't hear constant cliches. Because all I'm going to do is roll my eyes and say, here we go again, best hits, greatest hits. That's what I call now volume, whatever it is at this point. Be real, dude. You need to I don't know. That's all I can really say about that. And look, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does great. I can't wait till we hear him on the sidelines again saying strike up the band. And I'm not going to say some of the other things he'll say, but I'll obviously the Chiefs just didn't have a coach on staff on a regular basis that did that. It was noticeably gone when Eric Bieniemy was gone. But that speaks to some of the coaches on staff needing to kind of be more of that style mentality. And that's part of the reason the offense suffered the way that it did. So, look, we'll see how it all works out I'm hoping for the best for the Chiefs offense. I'm hoping the best for Eric Bieniemy, and I'm hoping the best for everybody. But I've also seen this road before, and people argue, well, that means they had a top 6 offense. They had this, they had that. Yeah, during a lot of that time, they had Tyreek Hill and a young Travis Kelce too. You don't have those anymore. You're going to have to recreate something. You're going to have to create something new. And we don't know. We'll see what happens with Rashee Rice here in the months ahead in that front. So I don't know what this offense is or isn't going to be right now. I don't think they know either. So that's the kicker. Right now, you're building with Patrick Mahomes and maybe Brashard Smith, definitely Xavier Worthy, and then everything else is question marks right now. That is literally what the 2026 offense is. Everything else is question marks right now because of either age, what may happen off the field, or status, in general. So all that combined, that's what I'm saying. You don't have Tyreek Hill in his prime. You don't have Travis Kelce still at the peak of athletic ability. So it'll be very intriguing to see what this 2026 Chiefs offense is. And like you said, and you said it perfectly with in terms of Eric Bieniemy, yes, they were a top 6 offense every single year that he was the offensive coordinator, but there were a lot of different people playing in that band, as Eric Bieniemy would say.
There were, and I just to put a bow on it, I will say this, Nick.
Yeah, go for it.
I've picked up some of Eric Bieniemy's cliches. I've added them to my repertoire.
Yeah, you hear me enough. It's going to happen.
And funny thing is that when he was a position coach, when he was a running backs coach, he was the best.
Oh, awesome!
Interview coach on the team, and I thought he definitely got more guarded when he became offensive coordinator.
100%, man. He was so locked in on being like a head coach. He just wanted to do it right, and he answered just like Andy did. And I'm like, no, dude, that's not how you're going to win people over, man. And even when I'd ask him questions, what do you bring to the table whenever I try to help him in those pressers? And sell yourself right here, because ESPN will pick this up. NFL Network will pick it up. We'll all run it. I'll put it on Twitter. We'll all put it on Twitter. And this is your chance to sell yourself to owners, man. Take advantage of this window. And then he would just cliche machine. I'm like, all right, man.
But the thing is that, on the defensive side, the Chiefs have some guys that, you say that would run through the proverbial wall for a coach. I mean, Joe Cullen, I think, is one of those guys. Brendan Daly, to a certain degree, is one of those guys. Dave Merritt's definitely one of those guys. Steve Spagnuolo is absolutely one of those guys. Eric Bieniemy's always been that guy when he was with the Chiefs. I don't think they've really had one of those guys on the offensive side since EB left. Yeah. And, I mean, he is one of the most motivational coaches that I've ever seen close up. I mean, you talk about those guys. I would sit and watch Eric Bieniemy coach football and coach a team, because he's entertaining and he also knows how to motivate people, for better or for worse. And maybe not everybody responds to it, but you know what? Almost everybody who plays for him plays better under him than they have played for others. So he gets the most out of some guys. Well, we know that the Chiefs are also going to be able to need to get more out of some guys on the defensive side. And that was my worst transition ever. But you know what? We're going to live with it.
We're there, Matt. It's all right. It's all right, man. That road wasn't plowed. I totally get it. Snow's happening.
There you go. It was. I got through 5 inches of snow to get there. We talked about, you can go back and listen to last week's podcast we talked about the offensive needs that the Chiefs did. And we went so in depth that we had to wait until this week to talk about the defensive side of the football. And defensively, the Chiefs are going to have a decent number of starters returning, or at least players in key spots. I mean, at this point, I would expect that Chris Jones is going to be back. George Karlaftis will be back. Ashton Gelati. Omar Norman-Lott will, whether he's ready for week 1 or not, will be an important piece of this defense. There may be some guys that are gone, but, Mike Dana is going to be a question mark with his contract status. Linebacker, there's going to be some positions opening up, maybe in the secondary too. The Chiefs are going to have, I think, a decent number of starters, but they've got some needs, Nick. They got fixes that I think that they have to get at every single level.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, they got to continue to keep adding to the pass rush. Because right now, really, the only thing that you're guaranteed right now, in my opinion, pass rush-wise, is you're going to have George Karlaftis, but he's going to need somebody dominant on the opposite side of him. And Chris Jones you want Chris Jones to be as healthy as possible, but you also need somebody that can rotate in with Chris Jones to keep him fresh. Then the question becomes, who's playing next to Chris? Is Omar Norman-Lott going to be the one tech again, and you're going to add weight to him, and he's going to have to try to play through ankle issue throughout training camp and in the regular season, and ends up getting him hurt and takes him out for the year? Are you going to do that, or are you going to actually go get a real one tech? Like that's question number one, because then Omar really should have been playing the 3 tech behind Chris Jones and rotating with him is what should have happened last year. But they went down a different road, and that road did not work out for him, and also led to part of their record being the issue that it was. Then you have Ashton Gelati, who, in my opinion, when I watched the tape last year, was just kind of another George Karlaftis, in terms of like style and pass rush. I think Gelati's got a little bit higher motor whenever he finally taps into it. And, that's going to happen with time over year 2 and year 3. But there was always a big question at the one tech spot, and then who is rushing opposite of Karlaftis at the other defensive end spot. And that's really where the Chiefs are going to have to focus, whether it's draft and free agency. They're going to need to find multiple rushers to rotate in. And I'm talking like legitimate rushers, not just like, hey, this is Timmy Timerson, played in the league for 5 years. We'll rotate him in here. He'll be one of the guys. No, there's a reason Timmy Timerson's available right now, bud. So, yeah, they need to invest heavily in that pass rush. Above anything else, it was Steve Spagnuolo's system. Pass rush is king. That decides things. That wins trenches, or that, causes you to have a season where 6 wins is near your name. So that's the number one thing they got to improve. If there's only one thing to improve, it better be that. On the secondary front, they need help at safety. They're going to need a more athletic safety that's got better range at the free safety spot to be able to handle what needs to be handled. Jaden Hicks, to me, is a strong safety or a box safety more than anything else. I think that's where his wheelhouse is, and I think that's where the Chiefs are going to have to potentially use him. Cornerback-wise, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Fulton. We'll see what happens with Jalen Watson. We'll see if Trent McDuffie gets put on the market, because now more than anything, this is the window if you're going to get picks for Trent McDuffie. This is the time you have to do it. So, they've got to make that decision, or are they going to pay him on top of George Karlaftis? But Trent didn't have the year that you would want a player of his caliber to have if he's wanting $30 million a year. Like when he goes up against big physical receivers that are 6'2" or bigger, it didn't work out for him. And that happened. That's been multiple years. It's just he had to deal with it more this year than any other year. So, and you're not, in my opinion, you can't pay a guy to work inside $30 million a year. That's outside corner money. And so at minimum, I think you're going to need an outside starting corner. It's just a matter of who you want between Watson, Fulton, and is there somebody else out on the market or somebody you draft? And then you have Noel Williams that rotates in at a spot, depending how you want to use him this year. And if he can kind of make his game well-rounded to where he kind of gets the scheme a little bit better, gets the pattern matching a little bit better, and does that stuff. And then you're going to need a much more rangy free safety that can really be kind of the cornerstone of what your defense is. But if I'm not kidding when I say this, if the Chiefs are asking me, hey, we can only fix 3 things, what are they? I would tell you one tech, right defensive end off the left tackle side, and free safety. Everything else you could work around if you have to, but those have to be different than what they were the past 2 years if you're trying to get back to where you want to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, linebacker is going to be one that's, to me, is really, really tricky because, I don't think that Leo Chanel is coming back. I think all evidence would suggest that he's not. I think that there's going to be a team or more than one team out there that sees him as a 3-4 linebacker that they can put on the field all 3 downs. And the Chiefs have not figured out how to do that in 4 years. So I think somebody else is going to.
Pretty simple, but yeah, no, they refuse.
Somebody else is going to pay him. Yeah, somebody else is going to pay him. And Drew Tranquill is probably getting to the point. I was impressed with how well Tranquill did play this season. I thought he had a little bit of a bounce back year, but he's getting to the point where you have to prepare for Drew Tranquill to not be himself at some point. That there's going to start to be the point where he gets a half step slower. And that could happen at any time. So you've got to be prepared for that. So, I think you're going to have to work at that. And you really don't know what you have in Jeff Bossa yet. And the Chiefs have been really good at finding undrafted free agents and turning them into something that they can use. But, it can't be all Cooper McDonald's and Jack Cochran's that, you start turning into the starters on defense. I mean, they're going to have to probably invest a little bit, and maybe they can get lucky and they can find another diamond in the rough like Drew Tranquill in free agency. But they're going to need to beef up that room too. Defensive front to me is a really big one, because I honestly could see the Chiefs bringing in 4 or 5 new faces on the defensive front. Depending on whether, Mike Dana becomes a cap casualty or not. I mean, I could see as few as just 4 or 5 players returning from this year's group, because to your point, you can't just continue to kind of have some replacement level players out there. You've got to find some guys that you can plug in to fit your system. And Felix Adedike-Uzama has not been that, even though he was your first round pick. I don't think you can get anything trade value out of him, but maybe he needs a change of scenery. Maybe you can, just get something out of him. And you're going to have to throw some resources in it. And to me, that's why that first round pick is so valuable, because you just cannot find impact pass rushers anywhere in the draft. You can only usually find them in the beginning of the first round. So.
And now that you've said that, the Chiefs are going to trade back for additional second and third round pick.
And you know what? I don't think I'd have any issue with that if it's still the pass rusher that they take early on. And, hey, I get, Chiefs fans, we've been talking like on the live stream and the Q&A, I've been hearing pretty much Reuben Bain and Bailey and Jeremiah Love as these are the 3 players that everybody wants. There's a decent chance that all 3 of them are gone before the Chiefs pick at 9. If the Chiefs have somebody else that they like, and we don't know. I mean, there's going to be so many different thoughts on the draft, 3 months from now when we get there. People are going to have a different views. There's going to be somebody right now that everybody considers a consensus first-round pick that's probably going to go in the 4th round. Conversely, there's probably somebody in the 5th round right now that people are talking about that's going to be a first-round pick. We don't know a lot about these draft picks at this point. There's going to be more to learn, and we always find out more at the combine. So, I mean, this year, at this point of the year, it's really hard to really narrow down draft picks, and especially at certain positions. But, hey, if the Chiefs traded back to get more picks and they still got a pass rusher in the middle of the first round, I'd be completely okay with that.
Well, Matt, I will worry about that in March and April.
Well, and that's the thing is that, we keep rattling it off. I mean, the Chiefs do have a lot of needs. I think they have more on the defensive side than on the offensive side. They just have some important needs on the offensive side. But they're going to need some help at every spot. They need help at corner. They need a lot of help. They need multiple pieces on the defensive line. They need a linebacker. And to your point, I mean, they need probably a safety. I mean, I think there's a pretty good chance that they're going to try and keep Brian Cook. I don't know if that's the best financial decision, but I think they like Brian Cook and they want to keep him. It's just going to be pricey. And I don't know if that's going to be in their budget.
I mean, look, Brian Cook he's a quality safety, but whenever he had that foot injury in Green Bay, he hasn't been the same football player. Just like Juan Thornhill was a great rangy safety, and then when he tore his ACL in that Chargers game, he was never the same football player after that. Like, that's just reality. Like, injuries happen and things can happen quick. So the Chiefs, just in my opinion, have never had that rangy safety that they need to be able to really kind of help anything that they want to call coverage-wise shine. So, I mean, hey, if they want to keep going down the same road they're going, then hey, we'll remember the great times we had.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'd love it if Brian Cook signed, because remember, Brian Cook signed essentially the same contract twice. I mean, he came to the Chiefs for 3 years, $31.5 million. I think he signed with the Saints for 3 years, $31.5 million.
You mean Tyrann Mathieu?
No, I was talking about Justin Reed.
Justin Reed.
You
said Brian Cook. I just want.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Justin Reed. I'm sorry.
It was Justin Reed.
I'd love it if Brian Cook signed for that contract. I just don't. I mean, I think he's going to get a bigger offer out there, and that's where the Chiefs are going to have to have a tough decision to make.
It's not that tough for me if that's the numbers.
Well, I'm with you there. I do think that there's a price that you'd have to tap out, and that might end up happening. So, well, we're going to have a lot more to talk about. We've got another juicy topic to talk about next week, as a matter of fact. So I'm not going to spoil it. So you're going to have to come back for that one. Tuesday night, the Q&A. Hopefully the microphone for now is fixed, or we're trying to get some other things going on over here fixed up. So sorry for the problems that we had on Tuesday night, but hopefully you can come back and check it out and enjoy a mic-free problem on Tuesday night with the Q&A. And of course, Nick and I will see you next week. And if anything else, surprising happens this week, maybe there'll be some Chiefs news this week. Maybe we'll hear from a coach or something. You never know. So stay tuned, people.
You've been listening to 41 is the Mic, presented by KSHP 41, your home of the Chiefs and Chiefs Digest.